Welcome to the Digital Maddie Show with your host and host, Digital Mithil, your digital coach who is on a mission to help entrepreneurs build their digital empire with my self made entrepreneur program. This show is all about unlocking the world of entrepreneurship, personal branding, content creation, and digital marketing. I also bring entrepreneurs and experts on the show and extract their secrets of success, which gives you a perfect roadmap for building your digital empire. Today, we have an amazing person straight from Washington. He is already into our studio. Let's welcome him.
You are listening to the Digital Maddie Show with Digital Mithil.
So, as I told you, we have Arvind Venugopal on our show. Thank you so much, Arvind, for joining us straight from Washington. So, all the people who are listening to this episode, let me introduce Arvind to you. Arvind is a technology leader, a musician, a podcaster. He is a lifelong student, learning amazing new skills and wisdom all along the way. So, welcome again, Arvind, to our show.
Thank you, Mithil. It's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. So, Arvind, let's start our episode. So, Arvind, can you share something more about yourself, your backstory?
Sure. I was always asked to tell about myself, and I would think about one or two things to describe myself. I would say that's why I'd written I'm a student for life. So I would say I grew up in South India, which is where I was born as well, and I moved to the US a couple of decades ago, and I've lived in various parts of the US, and I've been settled in the Washington DC area since the last many years. And I would say in terms of things that I'm passionate about, so I'd like to define myself around those things. So that also kind of leads to what I had written in the bio as well. Personally, for me, I am shaped by the people around me and the people who have taught me things. So, including you, Mithil, where I attended your class last year. So I owe all my being to all the teachers and all the people around me. So that kind of constitutes what I have been so far. And of course, I'm looking forward to shaping myself more in the future.
So, if I'm not wrong, Arvind, you follow exactly what Bruce Lee says, be like water.
That is the biggest compliment I've heard. Thank you so much.
Awesome, because that's the fundamental way, of the water to absorb everything from all the people who we are associated with, and that's how you get shape yourself. Super cool, super cool. That's a nice habit, and everyone should adapt to it. So, Arvind, you stay in a place where it's called as the land of the president, basically. So the key thing when it comes to US, they work, and they work everything around the community. So, Arvind, can you throw some light on how basically you build a genuine community?
Sure. In fact, actually, growing up in India itself, community has always been close to me as well. Neighbors are very friendly in India, and community is a big aspect. And in fact, when I moved to the US, it was initially a culture shock because it was a very individualistic society, and you have to deal with yourself. And even if you offer somebody help in most parts of the country, they would feel obligated to return your favor in some form as soon as possible. So even when somebody needs $1 for a vending machine, immediately they would look to return the dollar back to you because they don't want to have that debt in their mind. So I think community is something that is built with nurture. I think of community as a plant, where you have to water it, you have to feed the soil with the nutrients, and you have to provide adequate sunlight, and you have to basically care for it. So community comes with caring for people. I do feel you can form one community, you can be a part of multiple communities. Different people are passionate about different things. For example, Digital Mithil's community may be passionate about various things in the digital world. Similar to that, my podcast, Empathy Speak, a lot of people who are caring about the empathy, compassion, kindness, those types of topics, there can be communities. And then there are also other communities that I have been personally been a part of and gained from them, where I have learned a lot of things, that I can apply in my life. So community is also a place where we can learn from each other. So that's why I also feel like it's a very important part of our lives.
So true. Like, every person is basically a part of a multiverse of the communities. There are, like, it's basically all the Venn diagrams, and you are part of each of, you share a part of each of the community with which you are associated with. So Arvind, you are also a musician. So definitely when it comes to music itself is a big community. And so can you throw some light more on your music life, the musician life of yourself?
Sure. I grew up in, like I said, in South India, where I learned Indian classical music. In India, not everyone has the access to learn music. I was fortunate to have the access to learn music, and especially classical music, it is even more restricted access. And I happened to be fortunate and blessed to be in those communities where I learned. But over time, as I've expanded my genre to like other genres, I've had various opportunities to interact with musicians. If artists who do things other than music. I have also been in art communities where I have interacted and learned from people of various backgrounds. The concepts between the East and the West, both in terms of music as well as philosophies, I've learned a lot from that. And then I was in the arts community, which was the interfaith arts community. So I got to learn about musical aspects of various traditions, faith traditions. So those also like enabled me to learn certain aspects which I would otherwise not have the opportunity. If I just stick into what I know, then it's hard to learn something new. So I think just putting myself out there. While music is not quite like a visual art where like I have to work by myself, collaborations are definitely possible. One great musician that I admire, he said like it's all about the energy. So I feel like when musicians interact and collaborate, finding the right people where you can find the right energy, I think that seems to be like the key. So that plays a little bit back into the community where like, where you form your community. Musical community is definitely a part of it. But not all musicians are the same, and musicians are their own biggest critics as well. So you also want to keep your positive mindset. So you want to hang out with people around the same wavelength so you can make progress.
Wow. Now that's awesome, Arvind. So Arvind, you said that you are from the music world. You are also part of the philosophy. You are part of the art also. The best thing when it comes to all the three, if you bring them together, they have their different ways of communicating and communicating the feelings to the people. So now when we say communication, so vocabulary plays a very vital role. So Arvind, what do you think, how to change vocabularies and paradigms to create positive outcomes? Because words or vocabularies play a very vital role and itself has an energy into it. So can you share something about it?
Sure, absolutely. Funny thing is, when you listen to songs, when you hear ooh, 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 la, 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 cha, 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 you don't think too much about it. You just like hum because the music is, goes well with the flow. You just hum it. When somebody is saying those things in a sentence, you stop to think that doesn't make sense. But a lot of times what happens is we are used to certain words or certain concepts that have been taught in school or that have been practiced by all your friends. So you think something is normal. Especially, for example, in the gaming world, I will give one example. In the gaming world, a lot of violence is nowadays with a lot of games, violence is considered normal, which is not. If you think about it, it's actually not a normal thing. If you can walk out on the street and talk in that language. So I personally am not a fan of that. So I think the way we can challenge ourselves is trying to find an alternate vocabulary or alternate vernacular that we can use, where kindness and compassion comes to the top. So and then you ask yourself, is this kind and is this compassionate? I don't know if Gandhi actually said this, but there's a quote which says, if truth doesn't help somebody, you have to reevaluate how useful that truth is. I'm paraphrasing, but I think the point is, something may be factually correct or something might be historically correct, but you have to really evaluate how it is impacting people around you, and you have to build a new vocabulary that can help not just yourself, but when you're communicating that message, it also helps the other people in a way that you can form your community. The community starts with trust. So if your vocabulary is putting somebody in an uncomfortable position or it is triggering them to something, then that trust is not going to be formed. So in order to do that and also build your community, I think the language we use, vocabulary, is very important. But we're all creatures of habit, so it's really hard to leave some habits, stop using some language, and also all the mass media that keeps pushing the same message back to you, so that remains in the front of your memory. So we have to really practice hard. We can come up with our own vernacular, just put some rules. Is it harmful to someone? Is it going to trigger someone? Is it going to have a side effect? And in the long term, is it good for my own mental health? So those things definitely we just need to be careful. And it's always an evolving thing. Language is a communication tool, and communication is meant for interacting with other people. So it's always evolving. So in your own context, geographical context, in the US, it might look different. In India, it might look different. For example, in your own context, you can find your own vocabulary.
Absolutely. So Arvind, when you started, this particular answering this particular question, you use certain words, and that happens to be one of my favorite song also. So can you, since you're a musician, so can you play that tune? How is that basically that song with that particular vocab which you just used? So on public demand.
When I was a kid, I used to play Antakshari with a lot of my cousins. So I will say, like, when it comes to la, the la 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 thing used to be a popular thing. There was one popular song in the 90s. It goes la 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 la, la 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 la. But you can't really say that to someone. They'll be like, "What are you talking about?"
Absolutely. But the words that you used were ooh la la la.
Yeah, that song too.
Ooh, la la la.
Another 90s song. I'm dating myself, yes.
Beautiful. So now, when it comes to music, philosophy, and art, that basically, exposes you to the abundance of knowledge. And in order to have that particular habit and to be a part of such kind of community, you need to also have an abundance mindset. So how can, Arvind, a person migrates from probably a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset?
I have been learning a lot about this as well of late. The author and philosopher and this famous public speaker Deepak Chopra has this quote which says, "We are all full of infinite potential." So the infinite potential exists already. So I think if we go out in nature, we would find that very easily, whether we look at the birds or the trees or the ocean or anything in nature, if there's a weather pattern or if the universe in general, the infinite potential exists, and we are pretty much a part of it, very much a part of it. As much as mortals that we have limited lives and all that, but we still have infinite potential. So when somebody is thinking about something that is a limiting factor, so if I say I am not able to do this because of this, there might be certain situations where we may not be able to do this, but there may also be certain situations where we can see within what we have, what are the things we can do. I think of it as a small dot in a circle. We all have our circles because we can only go so far, but we are all like these small dots. We can decide to go in any direction. We can decide to go how much ever long we want, and come back to the center, or never come back to the center. We have certain options within our world. So I think if we shift that mindset to an abundance mindset, so if we feel there's more to learn every day, then we get open to opportunities and new possibilities. So the podcast that I started last year came out of something like that, because I was already working in technology, and I was when I was in the music groups, creating a podcast and then spreading the message of empathy, communicating with people was something that I expanded my domain in. So that's something that everybody can think of where they can contribute more to the society.
Wow, that's super cool. Wow, that's super cool, Arvind. And happy to know that you are investing a lot of time to expand your horizon with the abundance mindset. And glad to know, and happy to have you on this particular podcast, and through that even people are able to learn a lot of things into it. So now, Arvind, when it comes to podcast primarily, that you started the journey, so why did you choose this particular concept of bringing empathy into your podcast?
I think in the last few years I have been witnessing in the US, where I'm living right now, the people from different political spectrums not coming to consensus on things. In fact, the divide has been growing so much that people are not even willing to talk to each other. Growing up in a diverse environment in India is quite diverse, and growing up in a diverse environment in India, I know that dialogue is possible. In fact, Dr. Abdul Kalam's autobiography talks about his childhood, where like a lot of the things that he learned were from his neighbors, his friends, his mentors, who were all from various different backgrounds. And he was able to apply that in life, in the lessons in life. So the lessons we learn from diverse backgrounds is so critical. And empathy is something that helps us as a tool to have those kind of conversations, whether we are able to understand somebody's situation or pain, or whether we are able to, sometimes we may not even be able to put ourselves in somebody's shoes, because somebody who has some money, they may never understand how it is to not have money, but at least you can have the compassion and empathize with them in a sense that, okay, there could be a possibility that some people don't have any money, so you need to be a little bit more kind and compassionate. So just having that understanding, and I have thought of empathy as a byproduct of these conversations. So if we go in and define empathy, and this is what it is, this is what we should do, not rather than being in a prescriptive way, I thought having conversations with people, hearing about the stories that they have, and empathy coming as a byproduct of that. So if you heard somebody's story on TV, then you feel, just like how in the movies they try to put yourself in the good person's lens or a bad person's lens, and then they try to say, now you decide what should they be doing. So that type of thing. So it's a byproduct of understanding people's stories. So that was very interesting to me. And I was originally thinking of a blog, but then I'm not sure how many people read blogs anymore, but I know at least people listen to podcasts, and I will be working on blogging these things as well, but podcasts is the primary channel. Right?
Wow. So everyone do connect with Arvind and listen to his podcast called as Empathy Speaks with Arvind Venugopal, available on almost all the platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, so on and so forth. So do check it out and do listen to his podcast. So now, Arvind, let's come to the main part. Now, with season 2 of the Digital Maddie Show, we thought of bringing something more flavor and some spice into the episode. So with you, we'll be starting with something called as a rapid fire round, which was not there in the season 1. And many of the guests had requested. Okay, so with that, a public demand coming back and bringing something new, and that's called as rapid fire round. So I'm going to ask you 5 questions, and the first thing that comes in your mind without thinking, I want you to, blast out all those answers. So are you ready, Arvind?
I am. Let's go. This is exciting.
Awesome. So the very first question, Arvind, is if you could buy anything or any type of food right now, what would you buy? No thinking. Whatever comes in your mind.
I'm a sweets type of person, so I love sweets. And there's one sweet I haven't had in a long time. Perhaps that one, Basundi.
Wow. All right. So let me call the Patels. Let me call the Patels from Washington, and they will deliver it to you. Awesome. So coming to the next question, if you could be any animal, what would it be and why?
I would probably be an elephant.
Why?
Because elephants have really strong memories, and they are physically strong, and they have laser sharp eyes.
Absolutely. And right now they are famous. The famous elephants from China, they are wandering everywhere. Awesome. Let's go to the third one. What is the one of the things you would put on your bucket list?
Since travel is restricted right now, I will put world travel as a bucket list because I've been meaning to resume travel in a long time, and I hope world travel opens up again. Definitely.
Awesome. So which will be the first city you will visit if the world travels open up?
It's a hard to pick one city, but I'll say
To begin with.
visiting family in India, so it'll probably be Chennai and Delhi.
Awesome. All right. Let's go to the fourth one. Who is your favorite superhero and why?
Oh wow, this one is a little bit challenging. Let me put a twist on this. I'll say Hanuman.
Hanuman.
Right. because some of the things that he did, he thought the sun was a ball and he went towards it. It's all like something normal superheroes wouldn't be even thinking of.
Except Green Lantern.
Yeah, that's debatable. who got the idea first?
Awesome. And coming to the last question, who do you admire the most?
I have actually the quality I admire the most is people who have accomplished a lot but who remain very humble. So I think in that line I have a few people. I will say one of them is A.R. Rahman. So he came from very humble beginnings, and he started very humble. In fact, there is a story on Baba Sehgal podcast that once Baba Sehgal was in a studio and he thought A.R. Rahman was one of the staff there. He didn't even think A.R. Rahman was a musician, and he was ordering him around. And then he regretted it later because he could not get a chance to be on A.R. Rahman's music for a long time because of, I don't know if it was directly because of that experience. But A.R. Rahman is someone who has remained humble despite the world popularity that he has gained. He's pretty much accomplished everything that a musician can dream of, but he still remains very humble and hungry to do new things every day. So he's always constantly challenging himself. All human beings have flaws, but I think within the context of what I think is admirable is despite being so accomplished, he is yet so humble. That, in my opinion, is like a very admirable quality.
So that was super fun. Arvind. Enjoyed the rapid fire round. What about you?
It was amazing. I didn't expect it. And also I felt like I'm a celebrity on a TV show, which I am already. But a TV show is on the horizon, I'm sure, which is also one of the things I have been thinking of as well. So it's a fun activity, and all the questions I really enjoyed. And I really hope you do call the Patels in Washington, D.C. and get me the Basundi.
Absolutely. Ask and it shall be given. All right. So, Arvind, if people who are listening to this particular episode, either on YouTube as well as on podcast, if they want to connect with you, how can they do that and where can you find them?
Sure. The easiest way would be to go to empathyspeak.com, where you can not only listen to all the episodes, you can also sign up to receive a weekly newsletter as the episodes get published. So go to empathyspeak.com. If you are a person who is on social media, Empathy Speak also has a presence on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So connect with Empathy Speak on any of those platforms. And if you're interested and curious to learn more about Empathy Speak, or if you want to have a conversation with me, just leave a comment on my website and I will be sure to reach back out to you. And if you are one of the people who has a podcast yourself and you want to have me as a guest, feel free to message me from my website as well.
So all the links will be available in the description below. So do check it out and connect with him. So Arvind, before we end this particular episode, what would you like to say to all of our viewers?
I will circle back to my earlier comment about compassion and empathy in terms of how we can shift our narrative and vocabulary. When we walk into a room, I want us all to challenge ourselves. So I think I'm trying to channel my inner Buddha and say, put kindness and compassion first, and then have the conversation. So that would be a simple message.
That's a very simple and nice message. Thank you so much, Arvind, for taking out time and coming on this particular episode. It's really an honor to have you here.
Thank you, Mithil. It's a true pleasure, and thank you for having me. And look forward to following your journey.
Thank you so much. So you have just listened to the Digital Maddie Show with your host and host Digital Mithil. Thank you so much for listening to our show and giving so much love. So don't forget to subscribe to our show on Apple Podcast and Spotify. And if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to hit the bell icon and subscribe to it. So this is Digital Mithil signing off at the moment. Until next time, meet you soon with another guest and their exciting story. But until then, keep rocking and stay safe.